In this segment, we'll discuss using clinical reasoning frameworks to help us create learning opportunities for our students. Many of us are familiar with the common clinical frameworks available to us to help structure our thinking for important or complex clinical events. But these frameworks can also be used to help guide students' thought processes and peer feedback. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. First, we can use the SNAPS model to help students think through a clinical problem. Using this model, the students will summarize the history, narrow the diagnosis, analyze the possible solutions, probe the clinical instructor for further ideas, plan how they'll tackle the problem, and finally, select a related topic for self-directed learning. This model can easily be modified for the PTA student by just replacing the narrow the diagnosis with listing preferred interventions. And this will be more appropriate for the scope of the PTA practice. Now we can gain some great benefits from using this model. First, both students can use the SNAPS framework to structure their clinical thinking and to develop good reasoning habits. And if we require our students to present their patient cases to us using the SNAPS format, we'll be able to discern the areas in which they're lacking or excelling and target the appropriate topics for further training. Another common framework is the sbar model. Even though it sounds like another health bar, this framework cues us to think about the relevant situation, the background, articulate our own assessment of the patient's presentation, and form our recommendations for future treatment. Students can practice using the sbar to hand off patient care to one another or to other clinicians, and then we can observe these handoffs to identify gaps, deficits, and strengths in our students' thought processes. And once again, we can use these gaps, deficits, and strengths to collaborate with our students to write specific learning objectives and choose appropriate learning activities to meet those objectives. If you have other frameworks that you like to use, think about how you might use them to help you identify and create learning opportunities for your students. The reference that we used for this segment is listed below. It's an excellent, brief, and practical article, so if you want to learn the basics of using peer-assisted learning in clinical education, we'd encourage you to review it. Thanks for listening.